So 1 a.m. Eastern is when everything went down in Vegas, I guess. What can you tell me about why Mark Davis made this move with his front office and his coach, Mike?
It is so funny. I woke up this morning, and the first thing I always do, check the phone. We've got a PFT writers text thread, and my eyes were adjusting.
Yes.
It's like something about McDaniels and Ziegler. It's like, did they have a press conference yesterday after trade line? But it's like, holy crap, time to mobilize. I don't think anybody knows why Mark Davis does anything that he does. And my first big takeaway on this, Rich, isn't whether or not Josh McDaniels should have been fired. He shouldn't have been hired. Because if you're not going to give one of the Bill Belichick disciples time to make the Patriot way take root and grow properly, don't do it. It's a 3 to 4 year operation to turn over your roster to get to the point where you've got a locker room full of players, if you can even find 53 of them anymore, that will fully and completely submit to the militaristic style. You check your individuality at the door. You do whatever the coach says. You don't say anything to the media. All the stuff that Belichick has tried to imprint on his teams. And it's funny because guys like McDaniels and Matt Patricia, who, like McDaniels, didn't get enough time in Detroit, those guys say, oh, I'm going to do it my own way. I'm going to be my own person. They don't realize it's ingrained in you when you're with him for a decade or longer. It's in your DNA. So Davis never should have hired him. I heard one of your folks say that Bisaccia should have gotten the job. Yes, look at what Bisaccia did under the most difficult circumstances. All the Gruden stuff that happened, the emails, the firing, or whatever that was, the Henry Ruggs situation in 2021, for crying out loud. What Mike Mayock and Rich Bisaccia did to get that team to the playoffs, they almost beat the Bengals, who almost beat the Rams in the Super Bowl, should have kept Bisaccia, should have kept Gruden. That was the first mistake. And hiring McDaniels without a commitment to keeping him long-term was the second mistake.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. Obviously, you know how I feel about Mayock. And I know a lot of Raiders fans are saying, well, the roster needed to be turned over, and he didn't really provide a lot of the coal for the engine. That's
Gruden. Gruden was calling the shots.
Right. So, bottom line is, though, that was then, and I guess this is now. What do you make of the first order of business being Aiden O'Connell getting the gig for here on out? Is that we can't risk Garoppolo getting any more hurt, so he's going to be on a roster that we have no intention of keeping him on? Is that the way this is working to you, Mike?
Last year, it was $40 million in injury guarantees for Derek Carr that became fully vested just a few days after the Super Bowl. So the last few weeks of the season, they put him in bubble wrap. They went with Jarrett Stidham, and they cut Derek Carr when they weren't able to work out a trade for him. Not that they were ever going to work out a trade for Derek Carr. Now you got Jimmy Garoppolo and $11.25 million in injury guarantees that vest in March of next year. I think for now, it's more about Garoppolo isn't performing well. He leads the NFL in interceptions with 9, and he's missed 2.5 games. Are you kidding me? So Aiden O'Connell played well in his start against the Chargers. They only lost by 7. I think that it's a combination of performance and let's not play Jimmy Garoppolo. I won't be surprised if they cut him between now and the end of the season. Frankly, that's the ultimate way to avoid having to pay him the $11.25 million in injury guarantees next year. If he's healthy enough to pass a physical now, just cut him before something happens where you're on the hook for that money. And I've seen some say that maybe somebody should have tried to trade for him yesterday, like the Vikings. Like, he's not mobile. He can't process information quickly. He's not consistently accurate. He's hurt all the time. I mean, other than that, sure, why not?
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.